Hey guys, it's Lee with Untapped Potential. I was going to do a little intro here for today's draft, but then the event started. So here we go. Okay, well our rare is Caves of Koilos, which we maybe will pick up like on the swing around if we wind up in those colors, but not impressive. And if there was a word I'd use to describe this pack, I'm pretty sure not impressive would be it. Okay. Rock Maulers is solid, not something I want to first pick. But Read the Bones is good, but again, that's not what you want to waste your first pick on. Orchard Spirit's okay, but that would require our first pick to put us in green. Oh god, what do we do here? This is not a very inauspicious start. Eyeblight Massacre's there if we wind up in the Elves deck, and it is removal, sort of. Ugh. This is awful. I'm going to reserve that and try to talk myself into maybe Rock Maulers or Titan Strength. Red is good, but none of this stuff's what I want to first pick. I'll take the Eyeblight just because we're probably not going to see another. This is no indication of what we're going into, because this might be the single worst pack I've ever seen. Well, Graveblade Marauder shows up. He's a rare. Death Touch, and whenever he deals damage to a player, that player loses life equal to the number of creatures in our graveyard, which is just gravy. The 1/4 for 3 with Death Touch is already good enough. Also on offer here, Cleric of the Forward Order's okay, if you want the aggressive red-white deck. Lightning Javelin is removal, it's pretty solid stuff. I think I'm going to take Graveblade here, though. Okay, we go into this pack here. Here is Fetid Imp, Typhoid Bats, as some people call it. Leaf Gilder is really good. Yavis Force Mage is actually pretty solid as well. Aspiring Aeronaut's pretty cool. Valerian Wardens is fine. It's nothing special, but it's fine. Could always just snag an Evolving Wilds, but no, I'm going to grab the Leaf Gilder here. See if maybe we can make this whole elf deck work. So, as we go into this pack here, we see a couple more things on offer here. We've got a Foil Reclaim that we're not going to take. Yavis Force Mage, which is an elf. Pretty useful, as we talked about before. Catacomb Slug is not something we want to pick up this early. Aven Battle Priest is resoundingly meh. Meteorite's actually pretty good if you got expensive stuff to ramp into, and this does do 2 damage, which is worth talking about. Founding Krasis here is a really slick card if you're in blue-green, which at the moment it does not appear that we are. We could be. I don't think we want to be. They're the 2 arguably worst colors in the set, but I'm going to grab the Force Mage here. So as we go into this pack, we're seeing a decent amount of red and white coming through, but none of it's particularly good red or white, which probably doesn't mean those colors are open. It probably just means it was something better. Fetid Imp is a card that I've played with very recently. He did great work for me all night. Titanic Growth might be the better pick here for us, but we're just going to cross our fingers and hope that not enough people are in green. Okay, well here's Timberpack Wolf, who if we are in green, we want to snap up as many of these guys as possible. Being a 2/2 for 2 is solid stats for a deck like this. Let me make the preview window a little bigger. So we could always grab that. Citadel Castellan, I don't think we're going to wind up in white, and I don't think she's worth the splash. We're not splashing for white unless, we get a Sentinel of the Eternal Watch, and then I'll have to feel really dirty about it later. The Shambling Ghouls are also pretty good, but I'm going to grab Timberpack Wolf, and we're going to hope to snap up a few more of those. Okay, well, we just picked up one of the cycle. Undead Servant is also a card we want to snatch up as many as possible, but I'm not... Well, we could grab it now and just start hedging towards that. Caustic Caterpillar is a good sideboard card. Gnarlroot Trapper is... I don't think we're heavy enough in elves to go for that yet. I think it's a little bit of a trap. So I'm gonna grab the Undead Servant here with the caveat of we're not running it unless we pick up several more. I'm pretty sure the pick in this pack is just straight up Might of the Masses. Instant speed combat trick, and hopefully we'll have a lot of creatures. I'm pretty sure that's just the pick here. Alright, so here, now I think we're to the point where we are going to pick up the Orchard Spirit. Since it's got pseudo flying, and since green doesn't really get flying, it's probably the best we're going to get. Evolving Wilds is also tempting, but here I think I'd rather have the creature. Here, I'm pretty sure it's just Shambling Ghoul. He's a 2-drop, he enters tapped, but he does what we want him to do. I'm not desperate enough in this draft yet to take Catacomb Slug, so this is where we pick up the Evolving Wilds. This is the part where we pick up the Slug. Ugh, I do not like picking up slugs. Alright, so here we're going to grab Void Snare, I guess. It's in our colors, and it's better than Healing Hands, but we're not going to be playing it. Or that one. So, go ahead and grab them both, though, assuming I learn how to click in the next few minutes. There we go. And now we're waiting on one other player. This has actually been a pretty quick draft. Everyone's been moving real quickly. And we get a Swamp. Okay, great stuff. Let's go ahead and get ready for pack number 2, where hopefully this will continue to come together. We're already off to a fairly decent start. We have some solid 2-drops. We could use more of a mid-game. Ooh, baby. Here we go. So, being in green is trying to pay off big time. Draga Invocation is just sick. Each creature we control gets +3/+3 until the end of turn and must be blocked this turn if able. This allows us to blow out our opponent, force them to make some really unfavorable blocks, and if we don't just straight up win from the amount of power that comes through on that, we will basically wipe their board. Other stuff in this pack worth talking about. Elvish Visionary is another good 2-drop. Llanowar Empath is actually quite a solid card as well. And those are the highlights, at least in our colors. Fiery Conclusion is good removal, but I do not feel like fighting for red. Yeah, those are the highlights, and we're definitely taking Draga Invocation here, no question. Alright, so here's another Llanowar Empath, which I just finished saying was actually pretty good. And looking at the rest of this pack, there's the Sphinx's Tutelage that somebody is going to grab and try to use, no doubt. Let's see, we got the Dragon Fodder in here for tokens. I'm pretty sure Llanowar Empath's just the pick. Night Snare I'm not crazy about, and Rabid Bloodsucker, same story. Just not crazy about it. Grasp of the Harrowmancer's good, though. Well, here's Infinite Obliteration, which we're not going to use because it's almost impossible to guess what our opponent might be playing in this sort of format. Now, it seems we might be being cut in black here, as we're not seeing any except for this. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. We're going to grab Rock Maulers here, by the way. But let's keep looking. Okay, so Shambling Ghouls here. Here's another Timberpack Wolf, which I'm pretty sure is going to be the pick. We're going to make note of another Lightning Javelin floating by. Dark Dabbling's okay, but I don't think it's not worth better. It's not better than this wolf. The wolf gets better the more than we have, so we're going to snap it up early. Okay, here's another Undead Servant, which would put us at number 2. And while that's cute, I don't think that's what I want to build around. I'm just going to take the Elvish Visionary here, as I think it's just straight up better. So, another pack where there's not a lot going for us. We might grab the Macabre Waltz as a sideboard option. Guardian Automaton as a colorless 4-drop, which I think might have to be what we do here. Better than Caustic Caterpillar. Yeah, I'm just going to pick up the Automaton. Maybe we run it, maybe we don't. So in this pack, there's another Automaton here. It's an Infernal Scarring, which is okay, but I don't care for it. I think I'm just going to go ahead and snag another Automaton here. I don't think I'm going to run it. I'm not sure I'm going to run either of them. Here's Nissa's Pilgrimage, which we are starting to get a little top-heavy. It might not be a terrible pickup here to get ourselves some extra lands early. Despoiler of Souls is here. He can't block early. I had this one in another draft. It was really underwhelmed by him. We're going to grab up Nissa's Pilgrimage. Okay, this is the part where we pick up the Bloodsucker because I don't want the Slug. We're back in our first pack here. We've cycled back around. Not our first pack, but the first thing we opened here. Ugh. I don't want the Bloodsucker. I'm just going to take this Grasp of the Harrowmancer. We're not going to use it, but I don't want to deal with it. Which is basically, I think, what we're going to be doing for the rest of this pack. We're just going to cut the Prickle Boar here. Okay, the Dark Dabbling actually came back around, and I'm pretty happy to see it. We can run this. Regenerate target creature basically means block and live and draw a card. I mean, that's pretty solid for 3. And Spell Mastery means we could potentially regenerate everything. And it can be a huge blowout if we get there. I don't think we will, but if we do. Infernal Scarring's the pick up here, because Reclaim's just that bad. And, I don't know. It's okay. Infernal Scarring. +2/+0. When the creature dies, draws a card, but I'd like it more if it also gave some toughness so I could stick around for a while, because otherwise I'm just 2 for 0ing myself. And sure, I can think of it as a 2-mana cantrip, but I don't know. I like to set it on my own time. Okay, here's a Dwinnen's Elite, another 2-drop, and I think we have enough elves at this point that we can start capitalizing. Necromantic Summons, I thought that was the removal spell for a minute. I got excited. Eyeblight Assassin might actually be the pick here, though, as that is a... Oh, wow, God, no, I'm an idiot. Here's Reeve Soul. That's the pick. Good pack for us, by the way. If we could have just taken that pack and walked away, I'd have been like, well, that's a deck right there. Here's Necromantic Summons again, which we just talked about. Another Rock Smaulers here, which I think I'm going to go ahead and grab. Elvish Vision. There's also a respectful nod to Elvish Visionary and to Read the Bones, but I'm pretty sure we just want the Maulers here. We just want to get to the late game with our big fat fatties and do work. Oh, speaking of big fat fatties, Sky Snare Spider shows up. This guy's really good. Varricus Disciple, who that's also really good. And also Goldforge Sentinel. I've had a tremendous amount of... Oh, what is this pack? What is this? Oh, I'm going to take the Spider here, but these packs have been awesome. And hopefully something from them will wheel to us a bit later so we can snatch up at least maybe our second or third best picks from these. Kind of alarmed. I think this deck... I'm feeling actually pretty good about this deck, which almost certainly means something is going to go horribly wrong. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think now we're getting to the point where people are having to make tough decisions as we're slowing down. There's a Sigil of the Empty Throne, which is a really fun build-around-me sort of card. Wild Instincts may be pretty sure is the pick here. +2/+2 in fight, it's green removal. Varricus Disciple, also very good. And Molekir Coldblade is cool, and I think he's something we'd like to pick up, but I'm not passing up on Wild Instincts here. I drafted a green-black deck the other night, actually, and in paper, and I 3-0'd with it. Using 2 copies of Wild Instincts, put those on something like even a 2/2 becomes a 4/4. That will win most fights. So, another Citadel Castellan making its way around. Someone's going to be happy there. Zindakar's Royal, which makes stuff as we play lands, but we're just going to grab another Timberpack Wolf here. That puts us up to 3. We're up to 4. That puts us in value. Okay, another Fetid Imp here. Got a lot of 2-drops, but I'm pretty okay with that. Fetid Imp's great. And also, Death Touch plus Fight seems very good. Nantuko Husk is an amazing 3-drop to pick up this late. I'm pretty happy to have that. We're going to have to make some tough decisions in a few minutes with cuts, but I do think we read the table right. Green is definitely open, and black is fairly open as well, I think. I think the player to our left... Yes, if you imagine us all sitting around a table, the player we are currently passing to, I believe he may also be in it. But that's okay, because while we got cut a bit in Pack 2 from it, we are getting to, reap the spoils now. Pick up Orchard Spirit here, again, pseudo-flying. So, no, I don't think we're getting cut in green at all. We're still getting some pretty good stuff here. I'm going to grab the Necromantic Summons, I suppose. Mostly because I don't think we need the Catacomb Slug, and there's a world where I see us using this. It's as good as the best thing in either player's graveyard, so we can always steal it for ourselves. I'm not excited about any of this. I'm going to take the Elemental Bond, but I'm not going to use it. Here, I'm going to pick up the Return Centaur, which I'm probably not going to use, but there's a universe where this gets put in. Nissa's Pilgrimage, I don't think I'm going to run more than the one I'm already using. Here's another Dark Dabbling, that's cool. So, that's a deck, folks. We got 33 cards, 32 if we don't count the Evolving Wilds just yet. So we got to start making some choices here, but off to a very solid start. Let's go ahead and get this area a bit bigger here. Make the cards a bit bigger so it's easier for everybody to see. Shrink this down a little. Actually, not shrink it, just move it. So we're going to go ahead and start by grouping the creatures separately. We have a lot of creatures. Okay, that's a little too big. I've only got so much space to go around here. Okay. And then sort by converted mana cost. So they're going to be changing it soon, so we don't have 10 minutes to build anymore. We'll have 5. And I'm perfectly okay with that, you see, because normally we build as we go. So I don't mind it. Okay, so now we have to start making decisions. Let's pretend we only have 32 cards. I know it says 33. We're not going to count Evolving Wilds. So let's start making some cuts. Obviously, Catacomb Slug, nope. Undead Servant, we only have one, so nope. Alright, we top out at basically 6 mana here, so I'm pretty sure the number we want. We do just want the traditional 17 lands. And especially with, where'd you run off to? Leaf Gilder here as well. That'll help us. Would have liked to have picked up one more of those, but I don't think we saw any. So maybe somebody else is in green after all. Don't think I want Rabid Bloodsucker. I'm going to cut him. Guardian Automaton. I don't think I want 2 of them. I'm going to cut one of them. Let's go down here and look here. Might of the Masses is a decent combat trick, but I think we're just on more of a tempo thing than that. I'm going to cut it for now, but I may change my mind and put that one back in. We have enough elves, I think, that I Blight Massacre might do work for us, but on the other hand, it probably might kill all our wolves. And actually, now that I think about it, well, let's think of it another way, though. It's good anti-aggression early, but most renowned creatures, if they've hit their renown trigger, will be too big by then. It might kill some of our own stuff, but if we use like the Languish principle of, sure, I might lose 1 creature, but if my opponent loses 3, I'm still getting value, and I'm still making it count. It's tough. It's really tough. I'm going to keep it in, though, because I do think we have... How many elves do we have? Let's count. 1, 2... 3, 4. We have 4. We have 4. No, I still think I'm going to keep it in. Just because, sure, we might occasionally have to take something of our own down, but I think we can get a lot of value on this, especially if we run into an aggressive deck. If we decide we don't like it, we'll cut it. That puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 non-creatures, which I still think is a couple too many. I'm not sure I like Necromantic Summon's main board, so I'm going to cut it. It doesn't really go with our battle plan at all, and I'm worried it'll be a dead card, especially if we draw it early. If we draw it in the late game, it can be swell, but I'm just not sure this is the time for it. Drog Invocation, Wild Instincts, and Reeve Soul, they're definitely in. I think I still like Nissa's Pilgrimage here a little bit, just to help us make sure we get to our late game to get our Rock Smaulers and our Spider out. I do wish we had a slightly higher top end. We have a really solid early game. Do wish we had a little more going for us there. I'm going to cut 1 Dark Dabbling. I think 1 is enough. Well, maybe not. It'll let us, the Regeneration Shield will let us get some extra value out of our small weenies. Maybe I will cut the Pilgrimage. It's not something we want to do on turn 3 if we can help it. We'd rather do it later. And I think since basically, for the most part, we're only trying to hit 5 mana, I think we'll be okay without it. So we're at 25 cards right now. We still have to make 2 more cuts. We have 19 creatures, which I think is a couple too many. So let's look up here and decide what we don't like. This is tough because I really like everything. All 4 Timberpack Wolves are straight up staying. There's not a world we live in where I get rid of those. Same with the Marauder. He'll be very good against early aggro and potentially can get in for some extra damage later. The Husk is incredible. Just eat all. If he's not blocked, we just eat all our dudes, punch the opponent hard, and just win. Orchard Spirits, they do good work for us. I may cut the Shambling Ghoul, actually. Since he enters tapped, he's not that great against early offensive threats. And finally, I'm just going to cut the Guardian Automaton. I'm not that worried about a 4 for a 3/3 that gains us some life, and while it'll leave our 4-drop a little shallow, that is a good turn to play some of our non-creatures, or just to play multiple cheap creatures. So, 17 creatures, 6 non-creatures, 1 Evolving Wilds. I think that's a deck. We're heavier in green, so I think, what's this proposing? A 10-6 split? Not sure I want to do that. I'm going to propose a 9-7, which I think should get us there. So we do want some black early, especially if we have Fetid Imp out. We want to be able to keep one of those online, but we do need to prioritize green. Fortunately, we have 2 double greens and 1 double black, but the Eyeblight Massacre is... I'm still not convinced I didn't talk myself into a bad decision with Eyeblight Massacre. But still, I'm kind of shallow on removal, so I'm going to take whatever I can get. Okay, I think this will work. We'll try it out. And we will begin in 2 minutes. I will see y'all in round 1.